It is 9 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get you one more traffic report here, and I've got a weather forecast that'll be coming up for you, too. Months before Pam Bondi was ousted as America's Attorney General, President Trump publicly criticized her for not doing enough to go after some of his political opponents. She also faced some pressure from Congress over the department's handling of the Epstein files. ABC's Olivia Rubin, she reports from D.C.
Bondi is still scheduled to be deposed by a House committee looking into the Epstein investigation. And as for her replacement, the man currently in charge of the EPA, Lee Zeldin, believed to be a leading candidate.
Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett, he said he would support Zeldin as Attorney General. He said as much yesterday on WTN's Matt Murphy show.
He's out of New York. He's an attorney. He's super smart, and he's a calibrated thinker. He's not just a on the surface kind of guy. He can think the long game, and I think he would be good at that.
Todd Blanche is currently serving as the AG in the interim. The EPA now considering adding microplastics to an official list of drinking water contaminants. That could lead to new regulations for water utilities. Dr. Stephanie Widmer is an ABC News contributor.
Definitely not enough research to draw any concrete conclusions. We use plastic every day, and the amount of plastic that we've been using as human beings and just in the environment has really been increasing over time.
Health Secretary RFK Jr. citing a small study that links microplastics in arterial plaque to 4.5 times higher risk of heart attack, stroke, or death in patients with artery disease. Pope Leo, he restored a Holy Thursday tradition celebrating what's known as the Mass of the Lord's Last Supper by washing the feet of 12 priests from the Diocese of Rome. Meanwhile, experts say having a pope from Chicago is one reason churches here in the U.S. are seeing attendance rise. The Diocese of Newark, New Jersey, in particular, says it's seeing record high attendance. Here's ABC's Tony Yates.
For some reason, it seems that people's hearts are a whole lot more open.
Father Amon Mantia leads St. Genevieve Catholic Church and part of the Archdiocese of Newark. The Archdiocese says before this Easter week is done, it will have welcomed 1,701 new people into the fold.
In some places, we've got bishops who are honestly saying we don't know what to do with them all.
Father Amon says the surge is also happening in Europe and Australia.
That's the latest news, traffic, weather. They're next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
On this Good Friday. My name is Chris Hand. Happy Good Friday. This is it's a big weekend. This is the cornerstone of the faith. Christmas gets all the glory. Easter deserves all the respect. It's a big weekend. Happy Easter to you and yours. Very, very excited to be here with you today. I understand a lot of people are off today. I only know that because my ride in wasn't like a scene from Mad Max. It was a little bit calm out there. It was nice. It was cool. To get to the office from Murfreesboro in an hour is I feel highly favored. I'm not going to lie to you. I do. I feel like the good Lord shines some light down on me.
Little blessed.
You know what I mean? I feel pretty good. Big weekend. We're really excited. We're super busy this weekend. Tomorrow, my 3-year-old turns 4, which is it's a very big deal. And we are very, very excited. Happy earliest of birthdays to my Millie Jane. She is too young to be coming in on the birthday.
Understandable.
But the boys will be in here over the summer for their birthday.
Nice.
I think so.
Think so?
Bishop was really bored last time.
Just a little bit.
Bishop wanted to come in, and he was turning 6. He's like, I'm old enough now, Dad. And it got to like 10:15. And he's like, are we done? Like, I know. The audience feels the same way, bud. The audience feels the same way. That's what I kept telling him. So tomorrow, Millie Jane turns 4. And not to overshadow the birthday, but also tomorrow, my 8-year-old is getting baptized.
Oh,
so
that's huge, too.
That is a very, very big deal. He has been asking for it for a while now, and we wanted to make sure that he was ready, the time was right, and that boy is ready. He takes his faith everywhere. He prays in the dugout when he's playing baseball with his team. Like, he jumps into prayer before the games. We're really proud of him. So that's going to be tomorrow. We're busy.
Yeah,
we're busy. And then we're going to be at we're doing the Easter celebration at World Outreach Church.
Oh yeah.
So they're doing it all weekend. They're doing it from tonight, starting at 6:00 with Charity Gale as their musical guest. They have the big outdoor stage set up, and then they'll have Kane on Saturday and Sunday morning. Saturday night starting at 6, Sunday morning 9:30. Everybody's like. So I get this sometimes. They're like, oh, the church is so big. It's, you guys do so much. It's like, yeah, because like this is a huge opportunity to invite people into the faith.
Yeah, it's a huge welcome into just everybody goes to church on Easter and they go to church on Christmas. And
I like to call them the eco-Christians. Yes. Easter and Christmas only. The eco-Christians are going to be out.
That's so good. I love that.
We need to corner the eco-Christians.
Yeah, we need to corner them from eco to everyday.
Amen. So there's you're on the other side. You're going to church. Where are you going to church?
My usual place that I go to, it's the church I grew up going to. It's the Donaldson Fellowship across from McGavock High School. If you know where McGavock High School is, it's right across the street. It's the church I've gone to for 28 years, and I love that church. I love the people there. Tommy Swindle is the pastor there. He's been with us for a long time, and he delivers a great message every Sunday, but especially I'm very excited for what he's got planned on Easter. He's very passionate. Brought him to tears talking about it this past Sunday, so I'm excited for what he's going to bring to the congregation for
That'll be really cool. And just some behind-the-scenes stuff. A lot of people don't know this about Mason. He works at that church.
Yeah.
Every single weekend. And since I've met him, he's been working at that church. And even years before I met you, you've been working at that church. That's kind of like how you got your feet wet in like the broadcast elements.
I kind of started doing broadcast stuff there in like 7th grade.
Which is just awesome.
But is it like
what a blessing and an opportunity for you.
to be at a church that had a knowledgeable team enough to be able to like, yeah, hey, we're doing this. And it's not just like I have a little handheld camera that we're using. We're using like big tech cameras and stuff. A lot of the people that go to our church are scattered across the industry, which has been really nice. And they're awesome. Shout out to Wade. Shout out to Doug. I know they listen to the station sometimes. Two of the guys that have taught me a lot there, and I appreciate everything they've done for me.
We are in a very blessed situation to be here in Tennessee. I remember when we first moved here in 2017. I remember like looking at my wife, and it was like wild because we would meet people. We would go down to Percy Priest Lake, and we had little Kennedy at that point. Virginia was pregnant with Brooks. And we were really kind of stunned that a lot of the people that you would meet, the first question would be, "Where do you go to church?"
Yeah,
and it was like a change in what we experienced in Pittsburgh and in Detroit and in Virginia, and also where I grew up in Massachusetts. But it was a welcome change. And wherever you are going to church, we're blessed to have a lot of great opportunities and a lot of great churches here in the Middle Tennessee area. So if you got a church shout out, you can put it in the comments on Facebook. You can jump in the YouTube chat and leave your church recommendation. I feel like that would be a good thing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's turn it into a message board. Let's turn the Facebook into a message board of where you're going to church this weekend. So that way, maybe somebody who's not getting that invite will feel compelled to join you. I think that's a good thing. This is a good weekend for it.
Yeah. We're a good community together here. Let's be a community on the weekends as well at a church.
Amen. So big weekend. Just praying for safety and the Spirit of the Lord to come over you and just really change the course of your life if you need it, or keep you heading in the right direction with the right momentum if that's what you're going for. A lot of people need a lot of things. Not everybody's going to be the same, but you're going to find it at that church no matter what you need, I promise.
We all need one thing in life, and that's Jesus.
Amen. This is the big one. Easter.
Yeah.
That's the cornerstone. So I'll be at World Outreach Church. Where are you going to be?
I'll be at the Donaldson Fellowship across from McGavick High School.
And that's Sunday morning for you.
Sunday morning.
We're doing Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm doing Sunday morning.
We're going to do Saturday night, and then my sister's coming up, and the kids we'll do the Easter egg hunt and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, my mom's sister and parents are here along with my cousins and uncle.
You're rolling deep.
Yeah, man.
I feel like I always roll deep. We could have no visitors and we still roll deep because there's 6 of us.
Yeah, you're pulling up a crew.
Whenever I get together with my sister, she has 3 kids too, and it's like we'll go to we're gonna go out to eat, and I was like, we should probably put in a reservation. She's like, you really think we need to? I'm like, we're a party of 11.
Yeah.
Like, yes, wherever we go, we're gonna need a reservation. Trust me. So get ready. It's gonna be a good weekend. We got a lot to get to today. Pam Bondi is out as the Attorney General. Job numbers just came in. Those are looking pretty good. Phone lines are open to you. We could do a bit of an agenda-free Friday if you guys want to do that. 615-737-9986. If you got any church recommendations, that you're welcome to do that as well. I think that this is a good day for it. It's Good Friday. So a lot to get to. We're happy to do it. Again, any church recommendations, you can text them in. We'll read them on the air, or you can call in. You can jump in the Facebook. You can jump in the YouTube. Leave your recommendations. I think everybody needs an invite. I forget what the stat was, but it was something like there's so many people that would go to church if they had somebody to go with. So find somebody to invite this weekend. It's a good weekend to do it. Wherever you're going, it's going to be better than not going anywhere at all. I guarantee you that. So the number to call, 615-737-9986. Job numbers just came in. Tripled expectations. Yes, sir. Tripled expectations. They were looking for 59,000. They got 178. This is the CNBC with the call of the game.
5,000. We are significantly stronger. 178,000. However, there's a pretty big revision in the rearview mirror. If we look at the minus 92,000, it becomes minus 133,000. So the 2-month revision ends up actually, if you look at the previous month, only minus 7,000. So not as bad. 178,000. When was the last time we had a number that strong? We have to go in the Wayback Machine all the way to May of 23 when we were, June of 23, we were 225,000. This is a big number. Excuse me. We have to go back to Dece of 24, Joe, 237,000. So it's still a very solid number going in the Wayback Machine. Now let's get into the internals here.
So the number's big. The naysayers will say stay patient. It's going to be revised down. It might. I mean, last month's numbers were revised down. But as for today, the numbers look pretty good. The economy looks pretty good. Gas prices still an issue. We'll talk about that on the way. But the job numbers coming in had CNN downright stunned. They didn't know how to handle it. CNN doesn't know how to handle good news when it comes to the president and the United States economy. In fact, you can make the case that they're often rooting against the president and the economy so that way they can have a told you so moment. But when the numbers came in, CNN shocked.
I mean, the expectation was, what, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah, look, the job market bounced back in a big way in March, and that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
Good news. Wow. Gee whiz. That's good news. Yes, very, very good news. So we'll keep you updated on those as more info and reaction becomes available. We're also going to talk about Pam Bondi today. Real quick, though, Hegseth. This is a big story. Hegseth has ousted the Army Chief of Staff, General Randy George. And they're reporting this, and they're reporting it in a negative light. I tend to think that this might be a positive thing. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked Army Chief of Staff General Randy George to step down and take immediate retirement. Sources familiar with the decision told CBS News, just a spoiler alert, after being asked, the Army Chief of Staff General Randy George obliged him and has put in his resignation. One of the sources said Hegseth wants someone in the role who will implement President Trump and Hegseth's vision for the Army. Chief Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said in a statement that George will be retiring from his position as the 41st Chief of Staff of the Army effective immediately. The Department of War is grateful for General George's decades of service to our nation. We wish him well in his retirement. A senior Defense Department official told CBS News, we are grateful for his service, but it was time for a leadership change in the Army. I think that you could make that case in many of our military branches, and I'll tell you why. Nobody said a damn thing about the COVID vaccine requirements. Not a one. Many of our armed forces were forced out of the military, or they were forced to take an experimental jab. And this guy, the Chief of Staff, General Randy George, there's some negative reporting around him in the COVID vaccine from one Catherine Herridge. She was speaking with a soldier who said that General George ignored her case until Catherine Herridge came and asked about it. So this soldier, her name is Stancic. Her name is Caroline Stancic. She was 24 years old, and she was forced to take the COVID vaccine. And that COVID vaccine that she was forced to take, or she would lose her job, essentially cost her her life. She is no longer the same, and I fear that there's many stories like this that we don't get to hear about. Catherine Herridge reported on it, and it is heartbreaking.
I am 24 years old. I have had 3 heart attacks, a mini stroke, and I am now getting a pacemaker.
According to this Army memo, your debilitating heart condition can be caused by either COVID-19 infection or the COVID-19 vaccine. Have you ever tested positive for COVID-19?
I don't have a single positive test for COVID-19.
So is this Army memo an acknowledgement that your heart condition is the result of the COVID vaccine?
It 100% is an acknowledgement that it was a result of the vaccine.
What was the cost of following orders?
I mean, it pretty much cost my whole life.
It's a sacred military pledge to leave no one behind. Were you left behind by the Army and the National Guard?
I was left behind and trampled. They watched it, they came back, walked all over me, and then left again.
That's a very serious charge.
I'm very serious when I say it.
They say that during the Biden administration, that soldier there, Caroline Stancic, was wrongly thrown off orders and lost her military medical insurance. They say after the investigation, she was finally medically retired and received some back pay. But they say that this went all the way up to that ousted Army Chief of Staff, General Randy George, and he ignored her case until the investigation from Catherine Herridge exposed military records linking her 3 heart attacks to the mRNA vaccine. So I say all that to say this. I think there's a lot of military leadership who went along to get along that should be removed and replaced, and I believe that this is just the start of it, and we're going to be paying attention to it. Secretary Hegseth also ousted 2 more Army generals, General Dave Hodine, the head of Transformation and Training Command, and Major General William Green Jr., Chief of the Chaplain Corps. This is on top of the Army Chief of Staff, Randy George. Story we're going to be paying attention to. I'll let you know if we get more information about it or if this is indeed linked to the vaccines or something else. On the way, we'll talk about Pam Bondi. We'll talk about the shutdown and more. A lot to get to. Phone lines are open for you. 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Coming up, more on the latest job numbers. Also, fast food restaurants, they're hurting like the rest of us, and they're trying to lure back customers. We'll tell you how. That's coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand, Mason Fleming producing. I asked you guys for shout-outs for churches. It's Good Friday today, Easter weekend, and you want to go to the right church. Where you have like-minded individuals. So the text line blew up, and I got a lot of church recommendations. Revolution Church in Crossville, Tennessee. Burns Baptist Church. We also have 109 Church of Christ. Shout out to Gateway in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Experience Church in Murfreesboro is getting some shout outs. Farmington Baptist Church on Nashville Highway in Lewisburg. Church at the Mount in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. Is that where Murphy's going to go? Maybe. Longview Baptist Church in Unionville, Tennessee. We also have one church home in Fairview, Tennessee. 3 services on Sunday. Highland Community Church in Mount Eagle. Mount Calvary Baptist Church in Gallatin. Kingdom Life Ministries in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. I don't think there's a wrong church to go to this weekend. Find your people and get out there, man. It's the big one, and I pray that you have a great time. Long Hollow Church in Hendersonville, Tennessee, also getting a shout-out. If you want to leave a recommendation for a church service this weekend, hop on the Facebook page, leave it in the comments, because everybody should be going to church this weekend. Great time to invite people. On the way, we're going to talk about Pam Bondi. She's got some free time. She's got some free time for church this weekend. She is out as the Attorney General, and we are going to bring all the speculation, all the rumors, and we'll discuss who replaces Pam Bondi on the way. It's 9:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 9:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A weather forecast for that Easter weekend coming up. U.S. job growth bounced back in March after a steep decline in February. ABC's Jim Ryan says the economy cranked out 178,000 positions last month.
With a strike ending at Kaiser Permanente, 35,000 workers were back on the job, contributing to an overall gain of 54,000 healthcare jobs in March. The construction, transportation, and warehousing sectors rounded out last month's job creation, while positions were lost in financial services and the federal government.
It may be a sign of the times. Fast food chains are looking for ways to expand their value menus as more Americans get hit hard with the rising price of dining out and with groceries as well. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more on what McDonald's is offering.
Starting April 21st, McDonald's will offer a new under $3 menu, and it features 10 items every day, each for under $3, like a sausage McMuffin or a McDouble burger. There's also this $4 breakfast deal, which includes a sausage McMuffin or a sausage biscuit, hash browns, and you get a small coffee.
The 4 astronauts on NASA's Artemis II mission are racing toward the moon. After spending a day going around the Earth, the crew getting the okay to fire up their capsule's engine yesterday. ABC Sam Champion reports that officially started the firing of the rocket there. I've got 3 hours sleep. Cut me some slack. That officially started the crew's 250,000-mile journey.
Monday's Moon Day. It's the lunar flyby, and it begins then. 6 hours. The crew will take photos, videos, looking at the moon's surface and for preps on future landing sites, possible by as early as 2028. Monday evening, Orion will make its closest approach to the moon between 4,000 and 6,000 miles above the lunar surface, and it's likely to pass that Apollo 13 distance record, flying farther from Earth than any crewed space mission in history. Now, on Friday, Orion will start to re-enter Earth's atmosphere at about 25,000 miles an hour.
A homicide investigation underway after a body was pulled from the Cumberland River in Nashville yesterday. Police were called to Cement Plant Road in Germantown at about 4:30. And according to police, the body was pulled from the water near the Cumberland River Greenway. No additional information currently available. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand. For Conservatives for Lower Health Costs, President Trump is doing what politicians have promised for decades, but never actually delivered. He's fighting to lower prescription drug costs for American families and our seniors, and he's forced Big Pharma to make deals. He's reformed pharmacy benefit managers, and he's launched Trump RX. That's the platform to buy medications at dramatically reduced prices. That's real relief for Tennessee families, seniors, and anyone who's ever had to choose between a prescription and paying rent. But right now in Nashville, some politicians are pushing Senate Bill 2040, the so-called Fair RX Act, the Fair Prescription Act. It sounds reasonable, but if it passes, it would force the closure of hundreds of pharmacies across Tennessee overnight. That's thousands of jobs being lost and over 1.5 million patients scrambling to find care. Many of these pharmacies serve rural communities where the nearest pharmacy is 30 minutes away. SB 2040 would also cut off mail order delivery. That hurts veterans, that hurts seniors who can't drive, and it hurts the Trump RX program itself. This is big government at its worst. They're trying to fix something, but they're causing more problems when President Trump is being counted on to deliver relief to Tennessee patients. Conservatives for Lower Health Costs is sounding the alarm. You can learn more at protecttnrx.com. "38 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Sam is back there bothering Mason. And
Bothering?
The last sentence that I said, I'm going to tell you without context, before we got on the air was, I would love to be Batman. Who wouldn't?
You'd love to be Batman?
I would.
You like your parents?
Yes. Batman liked his parents too.
You know what? You got a fair point.
I mean, he did. I don't know what's wrong, you know.
He loved them for all 7 years he knew them.
Yeah, it's true. I got a little bit more time with mine. We're still going. That's cool. It's pretty cool. Hey, the Facebook page has turned into a drop zone location for church invites for this weekend for Easter. Thank you to everybody putting in the recommendations. If you got a recommendation for where you should be spending your Easter and where the church services are in your neighborhood, you can put them there on the Facebook page, leave a comment, and invite somebody. It's the weekend to do it. We appreciate you doing so. Big weekend for Christians. Happy Easter to everyone. Have a great Good Friday. We got a lot to talk about, but that is the big story for us. It's Easter weekend. This is the big one. It's the cornerstone of our faith, and I hope everybody is safe out there. And I pray that your services go off without a hitch and that we see conversions and baptisms and people turning to Christ. That is what this weekend is about. So I hope we see that all over the place. Pam Bondi is out as the Attorney General. I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't happy.
Kaylee, I just got off the phone with President Trump. We have a big scoop. Pam Bondi will soon leave her job as the Attorney General. She is going to get a different job within the administration. It doesn't sound like there is any bad blood between her and President Trump, but it does seem like they want her to go and do something else. And in an interim role, she will be replaced by Todd Blanche, who is currently her deputy at the Justice Department. So it doesn't sound like Blanche is being elevated long-term to the Attorney General. There might be somebody else that the president wants to go in there. But President Trump soon will announce to the entire world that it is the end of Pam Bondi's time as the Attorney General. He still thinks that she is a great person and that she did a good job. And he still wants her in the fold because she will still be an important part of the administration, he tells me. But no longer as the top law enforcement officer of the United States.
So he was very complimentary on the way out. We love Pam. She's great. She's transitioning to the private sector. She will not be staying in the administration. But there are rumors swirling around that there are real reasons that Pam Bondi got fired. Daily Mail is reporting that she was fired because President Trump believed that Pam Bondi tipped off Eric Swalwell. This is from the Daily Mail. Trump reportedly believes that Bondi had tipped off Swalwell about the FBI's efforts to share investigative documents about his relationship with an alleged Chinese spy. Maybe you've heard of her. We like to refer to her as Fang Fang. It's Fang Fang. He was sleeping with Fang Fang. They say, the Daily Mail, the FBI was preparing a cache of documents on Swalwell's relationship with Christine Fang, and Bondi intervened in those matters. They say the White House wasn't pleased that she was intervening due to her personal friendship with Eric Swalwell, a source told the Daily Mail. Now, to be fair, the administration essentially jumped on this immediately and said that that is not true. Interim AG Todd Blanche replying to that rumor on Jesse Waters' show last night.
Pam Bondi too, but she didn't give Swalwell a heads up on the Fang Fang files, did she?
I would not believe that for a second. Okay. Absolutely, positively not.
Okay.
Absolutely, positively not. Okay. So it probably didn't happen. At least that's what I thought until Eric Swalwell also came out and covered for Pam Bondi. And now I'm like, I don't know who to believe, to be perfectly honest with you.
Did Bondi or anyone in her orbit leak information to you, Congressman?
No. The Attorney General did not tip us off. No one in her orbit tipped us off. It was FBI agents who tipped off the Washington Post because they saw this effort by Kash Patel and Donald Trump to try and interfere in a California governor's race that I have been leading. And so, what this shows, though, and what is quite concerning, is that Donald Trump is seeing ghosts. He's certainly gunning for us, and he wants an attorney general who's willing to break the law and weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. That is what has to be intolerable, not just for Pam Bondi, and I don't know the reasons why she was let go, but it has to be intolerable for anybody who sits in that chair.
Okay. Thanks, Eric. So I was like, all right, that's probably not true. And then I hear Eric Swalwell, and I'm like, it might be true. Who knows? Who knows? What I do know is that the Eric Swalwell Fang stuff is very, very real. If you recall, he was removed from the Intel Committee because of that relationship with a Chinese spy. This is back in 2023. Kevin McCarthy, who was then the speaker, laying it all out.
And if you want to talk about Swalwell, let's talk about Swalwell, because you have not had the briefing that I had. I had the briefing and Nancy Pelosi had the briefing from the FBI. The FBI never came before this Congress to tell the leadership of this Congress that Eric Swalwell had a problem with a Chinese spy until he served on Intel. So it wasn't just us who were concerned about it. The FBI was concerned about putting a member of Congress on the Intel Committee that has the rights to see things that others don't because of his knowledge and relationship with a Chinese spy. They brought it to the works of the leaders. I've got that briefing. So I do not believe he should sit on that committee. And I believe there's 200 other Democrats that can serve on that committee.
And I would say that because of that briefing that the FBI wants to release, I don't think Eric Swalwell should be the governor of California, though we know how much they love cozying up to China. He might be the perfect choice. So that's Eric Swalwell. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. Back to Pam Bondi. What happens next? So she's going to transition to the private sector. Who's going to be the top cop inside the DOJ? That's what everybody wants to know. Currently, the interim acting director is Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. They say that there are some favorites. It could be Todd Blanche that keeps the role permanently, or it could be Lee Zeldin, or it could be Judge Jeanine Pirro.
There are several names reportedly being floated to replace BONDI. Environmental Protection Agency head Lee Zeldin is seen as a favorite. Sources say Blanche could be nominated permanently as well, but Democrats say Blanche, who served as the president's personal attorney in 3 of his criminal trials, is another loyalist.
It doesn't give me a lot of comfort that it's Todd Blanche, who's now the acting Attorney General of the United States. This is the guy who transferred Ghislaine Maxwell from the higher security prison to the low security prison camp in Texas, and has arranged for a very sweet landing for her there.
The White House, though, is brushing off reports that the president is considering replacing DNI Tulsi Gabbard.
So don't worry about the Gabbard stuff, but Todd Blanche could be the guy. Lee Zeldin could be the guy. Jeanine Pirro could be the lady. But there are rumors on Todd Blanche behind the scenes that doesn't make me think he is long for the job at all. This is what I'm hearing. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was named acting Attorney General, has been the main roadblock holding up prosecutions of former Biden officials, state-level politicians, and Antifa terrorists. They say Todd Blanche personally shut down the DOJ's weaponization task force and is responsible for sidelining Ed Martin. Todd Blanche, according to reports, sees himself as a principled conservative and views investigations of Trump enemies like Jack Smith as an abuse of power, and he has privately told staff that he will not stoop to that level. Under Todd Blanche, the failure of the DOJ to investigate left-wing terrorists and former officials who prosecuted President Trump will only get worse. Again, these are all rumors. Take it with a grain of salt. But after hearing the interview with Todd Blanche and Jesse Waters last night, I do tend to believe this one. Last night, I mean, the interview with Jesse Waters was, I don't know how else to put it. I would just say a bit of an S show. Less and less impressed with Todd Blanche. The Epstein files came up, and no matter how you want to slice it, Pam Bondi lost her job because of how she handled the Epstein files. Whether it was Bindergate, whether it was being caught on a hidden camera, whether it was saying that there are no more documents, or now there is about 3 million more documents, or the lack of prosecutions, the American people were fed up with Pam Bondi as the top cop. And maybe she wanted to do something. Maybe she was a little too scared. I don't know what the reason is why nothing got done, but she talked a big game before she got in the office, and then she did nothing. Well, nothing is going to happen. It's just not. And it's ridiculous. This is a story that's going to continue to come up. We have had a little side mission here with the Iran conflict, which has taken the attention off of the Epstein files, but the attention will be brought back, especially after this disastrous interview with Todd Blanche last night. Blanche took the opportunity to say that the DOJ has released all the files and the Epstein file saga is done.
Absolutely did. Now, the Epstein files, you'd agree, not handled well?
And I don't, first of all, I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files. And so, look, the Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And what happened when the President signed the Transparency Act is the Department of Justice has now released all the files with respect to the Epstein saga. And the Attorney General Bondi and I appeared in front of Congress voluntarily a couple weeks ago to answer any questions they had. We have made every single congressman, senator available to come and see any document, redacted, unredacted, that they want. And so I think that to the extent that the Epstein files was a part of the past year of this Justice Department, it should not be a part of anything going forward.
Oh, that's good. He says that this has been a saga the past year. I would argue it's a saga of the Trump administration's own making. And do you know when the Epstein files saga will be done? When we see some high-profile names in silver bracelets and in a courtroom. Then and only then will we feel like this chapter has been resolved. But it doesn't seem like the United States DOJ wants to do anything. And we've seen other countries stepping up and taking action. I mean, the king's brother got arrested for crying out loud. Like, what are we doing here in America? It's done. The saga's over. It's not. There are still victims that deserve justice, and there are still creeps out there rolling around, not being held accountable for the crimes that they committed. And if you tell me that there's no evidence, I'm going to say that that's a lie. The entire home on Epstein Island, the entire ranch in New Mexico, wired for video and audio. They told us that there were thousands of hours of tape, but they can't release it because it was CSA, child sexual abuse material. So there were no adults in any of them? None? Zero? I find that hard to believe. I do. I find that very, very hard to believe. And that wasn't even the worst part of the interview on the Epstein files. It continued to get worse with Todd Blanche. He wasted absolutely no time covering up what was going on. Jesse Waters asked him directly, was he spying for another country? And he says, who was Epstein spying for? And Todd Blanche just deflected and ran away from the question as quickly as he could.
Who was Epstein spying for?
Look, everything. I don't know that he was spying for anybody. No.
What are we talking about here? You don't know that he was spying for anybody? You don't know that he was spying for anybody? Are we covering up for our allies here? Are we covering up for ourselves? I mean, that's definitely within the realm of possibility. Was he a CIA asset? Was he an MI6 asset? Was he a Mossad asset? Was he all three? I don't know that he was spying for anyone. Really? Are we really doing this? The largest, most prolific blackmailing operation that we have ever seen. I don't know that he was spying for anyone. Like, what are we doing? Is this is the guy that could be replacing Pam Bondi? Probably not. It's probably going to be Lee Zeldin. But, like, this is the guy in charge today?
Who was Epstein spying for?
Look, everything. I don't know that he was spying for anybody. Nobody's ever said that.
If you're watching on Super Talk TV, you get a little bit more meat with those potatoes there because his face looks very nervous. He chokes up a little bit. You can hear it a little bit on the radio, but you see it when the question's asked. Who was he spying for?
Look,
I thought this was going to be a softball. I thought this was Fox News. I thought this was... No, this is a real question. Who was he spying for?
Everything. I don't know that he was spying for anybody. Nobody's ever said that.
No?
Everybody says that.
He might have been a spy for a foreign country?
I have no idea if he was a spy. All I know is that we don't have any evidence in the Epstein files that the FBI collected over 15 years that suggests that, Jesse.
I call BS. I do. 100% bovine scatology. You have no evidence of that? None. I feel like internet sleuths have pulled together evidence of that. What are we doing?
I don't know. I wasn't part of the original prosecution team. Neither was Attorney General Bondi. And I can tell you this. There's only one president that's held Mr. Epstein accountable, and that's Donald J. Trump. During his first administration, That was the administration that prosecuted him, and during this administration, it's the administration that's been totally transparent and released all the files. And no matter how much criticism people want to make about the Epstein files, that is indisputable. It's undisputable that nobody talked about the Epstein files for 4 years during Biden. 4 years. And so when President Trump said, let's release the Epstein files, and the law was passed that allowed us to legally do it, we did it.
A lot of truth there. Let's be perfectly honest. Yes, nobody asked about it during the 4 years of the Biden administration. Nobody released anything about it during the 4 years of the Biden administration. Yes, Donald Trump signed the Epstein Transparency Files Act into law. 3 million files released. Very good. But we're here now. Stop pointing to the fact that the Biden administration didn't release anything and start bringing us some scalps. Can we do that? I want my scalps. I want my scalps. I do. Silver bracelets in courtrooms is what these individuals deserve. And it seems like we're going to get more of the same. And because of that, we're handing the Democrats a political bludgeon. You understand that, right? It's infuriating. I want my scalps. 954. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Spring into spring with the Spring Breathe Easy package. Did I say spring enough? Let me say it one more time. It's springtime. Clean everything up. Homeowners, you can clear out dust, allergens, pet dander before the summer heat arrives. This powerful package includes an AC tune-up plus a professional indoor air quality check to make sure the air your family breathes is clean and healthy. You're also going to receive a dust inspection and premium air duct cleaning to remove built-up debris hiding deep inside your system. But that's not all. Busy Bee is also going to install a whole home germicidal system to help reduce airborne contaminants. And with premium service, you'll get a bonus unit fog deodorizer, leaving your system so fresh, so clean, just like spring itself. Now, you get all this value for just $11.99 on 1.5 to 3 ton systems, regularly $1,800, or $15.99 for 3.5 to 5 ton units, regularly $20.99. Take advantage of this deal. Spring into spring with some clean air. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com. That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Hope you're having a good Friday. I've been asking people for some church recommendations, and they keep rolling in. Everybody should be going to church this weekend. We should convert those eco-Christians, the Easter and Christmas only, into everyday, every week Christians. So we got some recommendations. Long Hollow Church in Hendersonville, Cedar Creek Church in Lebanon. First Baptist in Hendersonville is having 10 services.
Wow.
Says Ben. That's a lot of services.
Probably going from Friday to Sunday to Sunday.
Marathon preaching. Let's go. Hillside Church in Rockville, St. James Episcopal Church in Union City, Tennessee, Bethel in Ashland City, and the Church of God, Antioch, at the corner of Hamilton and Mount View Road in Antioch. We're going to be recommending all these churches. I'll be at World Outreach Church in Murfreesboro tomorrow night. Very excited. It's a double bonus for me, triple bonus. My daughter turns 4 tomorrow. That's a big deal. My 8-year-old is getting baptized, which is a huge deal. And on top of everything else, our God defeated death. Heck of a
Rose
weekend.
from the grave.
Heck of a weekend. I mean, we're very excited. If you got a church recommendation, you can drop in on our Facebook page and leave it there. Find somebody to invite to church this weekend. On the way, we'll talk a little bit more about Todd Blanche, his interview with Jesse Waters. We'll take your phone calls as well, 615-737-9986. It's Good Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. The Easter weekend weather forecast is coming up. While the Labor Department reports a robust 178,000 jobs added in the month of March, questions still remain on if this momentum can continue with the ongoing conflict in Iran. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more.
Big picture, it is still a challenging job market. We have seen hiring virtually frozen for a couple of months, and there are still questions about what the spike in oil prices that we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks because of the war in Iran, oil up just 11% in just one day yesterday. We're still waiting to see exactly how that will trickle into the businesses' hiring plans for the economy.
President Trump claiming that the U.S. military operation is on track and will end soon, but the war continues, and Iran has been targeting oil refineries and even a desalinization plant in the region. Iran says 8 people were killed and nearly 100 hurt when the U.S. and Israel struck a bridge near Tehran. We hear now from ABC's Britt Clinette in Israel.
The president has said that the bridges are next, and then further attacks on the power. Despite the president's claim that the war would be wrapping up in 2 to 3 weeks, there's no sign of the fighting abating.
Fast food chains like Panera, Wendy's, and McDonald's are looking for ways to expand their value menus as more Americans get hit hard with the rising prices of dining out and with groceries. McDonald's announced a new expanded $3 menu starting later this month. We hear now from ABC's Morgan Norwood.
This is really the sign of the times, right? Especially with the economy. The fast food value wars are really heating up. Restaurants know that these cash-strapped customers are pulling back as food prices keep climbing. We're seeing this in the numbers. Over the past year, restaurant prices are up nearly 4%, while grocery prices are up about 2.5%.
That is the latest news. Weather's up next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere, all the apps, the FM dial, and you can watch the show as well. Super Talk TV up and running. YouTube and Rumble are the big ones, but also Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Over on YouTube and Rumble, you can jump in the chat. You can hit subscribe. We appreciate you doing so. Free to do, and it really does help out the radio station. So we were talking about Pam Bondi being replaced. It's a big topic of conversation.
Yeah.
I think she botched the Epstein files.
Just a little bit.
I think just a smidge.
Just a little touch.
The teeniest, tiniest bit.
But a binder's full.
Dude, what are we doing?
Slacking.
And I don't have any faith in the DOJ. I just don't. I just feel like there's so much that we could be going after that we haven't gone after.
Especially after that Fox interview you played last segment.
Yeah. Well, it's like, let's put Epstein aside for a second. How come we haven't had any prosecutions on the Russia hoax?
For real.
How come we haven't had any prosecutions on people that spied on Donald Trump's campaign?
Why are we not constantly in court for this stuff?
Why isn't Antifa rounded up and taken off the streets? Go down the line. Epstein stuff aside, you want to gobble up the narrative that they don't have any information on the Epstein stuff? Okay, now let's do Antifa. Now let's do Act Blue. Now let's do the Russia hoax. Let's go. Why haven't we seen any movement? I don't have faith that they even want to have movement. I tried to remain optimistic for quite a while, and it's like that optimism has faded. 100% faded. Pam Bondi was an abject failure at the DOJ. It should have been Matt Gaetz. You know why it should have been Matt Gaetz? Because we need a pit bull off its leash that is not afraid of dying. That's what we need. And I don't know, that Pam talked a big game, but she got in the chair, and did she get visited by some shadowy elites who said it's your job to cover it up? Is that what happened? It'd be a shame if something bad happened to you. Is that what we got? That's what Thomas Massey says. And I understand people are going to be like, well, it's Thomas Massey. But, I mean, Pam Bondi was picked because she was supposed to be this ruthless attorney general who was going to kick ass and take names and not necessarily in that order, you know? And so that's what we were told we were getting. We didn't get it. We didn't get it.
Are you confident you will see that?
I don't know if we're going to see it in this administration.
Why do you say that?
Because Pam Bondi has, she's been so against this. I would say from the beginning, but in the beginning, I think she earnestly was ready to release files. And then I think she wasn't in on the joke when they gave her those binders that had nothing in it. Then she found out she looked like a joke, and she shot off the angry letter to the FBI. But at some point, somebody got to Pam Bondi and said, it's your job to cover this.
He said at some point somebody got to Pam Bondi and said it's your job to cover this up. Is that how we're doing things in D.C.? It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. Why have we not had any arrests? Again, people are going to be like, it's Thomas Massey, and I'm going to play this next clip, and people will be like, it's Tucker Carlson. But listen, argue with the point, not with the guy making it. Tell me if you disagree with what Tucker Carlson is saying here.
But how can you say that thousands of children were raped, but I'm not going to find out who raped them?
Yeah.
How can you say that?
I agree completely.
They said that. By the way, when Pam Bondi went on television and said, I have a videotape of kids getting abused, I followed this case closely, and I know a lot of the people involved, as I've told you.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. Really? Thousands of children got raped?
Yeah.
Who raped them? Where are the rapists? Why aren't they in jail? This is the Department of Justice.
Yes.
That is so crazy. This is honestly one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I just think it's very dangerous to play around with this stuff. Very dangerous.
Well,
can anybody refute that? There were thousands of tapes. She said the files are on her desk. She has the videos. Can't release the videos, obviously. So it's thousands of videos of children being raped by who? By who? That's what we want. We want scalps. We want prosecutions. Well, we don't have any evidence. Well, find it. Do the investigations. Like, why are we talking about this? Go do cop work. Be cops. It's frustrating. And you know this is going to be used against us. You understand that, right? This will be used against the president. This will be a political bludgeon all the way up to and through the midterms. And you know what? Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Here's the thing. It is within striking distance. You're telling me that you couldn't find 3-4 individuals to charge? You can't? I find that hard to believe. Very hard to believe. So that's Pam Bondi out at the DOJ. That is the current status of the Epstein files. It's case closed, guys. The saga's done. It's not. It's gonna continue to be a blight on this administration. But you know they're investigating other stuff. They're busy, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have a lot of faith. Todd Blanche last night, he's the acting attorney general, giving an interview, with Jesse Waters, and he says, you know what we're doing now? We're investigating Act Blue, getting foreign donations and lying about it.
Music to my ears, because we're sick of getting ripped off. Speaking of getting ripped off, I don't know if you saw the New York Times is saying the Democrats were taking millions of dollars in foreign donations and may have been lying about it. Are you looking into this?
I can tell you that that is a priority of this administration and this Department of Justice, and it's something that a lot of people have been very worried about for a very long time, and you should rest assured that it includes the Department of Justice and it includes me.
Oh, thanks, Todd. Am I wrong for not having any faith in them? Like, if you can't handle the biggest case of the century, the Epstein files, how can I trust you to handle the Act Blue? And what are we going to get? Some prosecutions of some low-level losers? I want big names. Like, enough of the little fish in the sea. Let's go after the sharks and let's get this stuff done. But I don't have any faith. Like, what have they done that has showed me that we should have ultimate faith in the Department of Justice? On the Act Blue stuff, I mean, this should be low-hanging fruit. Laura Ingraham was talking about it last night with Chip Roy.
Going on to write that another memo warned it can be alleged that Act Blue accepted and or facilitated the acceptance of foreign national contributions into American elections. All right. Now, there are no specific illegal contributions mentioned in this report, but it should be noted that the House has been investigating this for years. The last time the Trump administration ordered an investigation to Act Blue for this very allegation, we didn't learn much. But we did reach out to Covington for a statement, and they told us that they have complete confidence in the legal advice that their lawyers provided to Act Blue. And Act Blue tells us what its chief exec said in the letter was accurate, and it works to comply with all FEC laws related appropriately to screening for foreign contributions.
So the big thing that I took away from that was that the DOJ already investigated this and came up with nothing. But Todd Blanche is acting like this is a big deal last night on Jesse Waters. And maybe it is until the American public forgets about it. And then it's going to be swept under the rug again and never discussed. And it's going to be like the Biden crime family and Hunter Biden selling his influence. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Chip Roy joined the interview to discuss the Act Blue accusations with Laura Ingraham. And he wants some accountability, and I know you do too, but I have a hard time believing that any accountability is coming. You tell me if you disagree. I'm open to you disagreeing with me. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm looking too much into it, and I'm way off. 615-737-9986 if you think so.
Evening, yeah, I'd be shocked to hear that Act Blue is taking funds from overseas, right? The fact here is the fact that Covington, their statement was pretty interesting to me, right? To say that basically they were saying, like, our legal advice was good. That's another way as lawyers of saying we were telling them what they needed to hear, which is you need to be mindful of the fact that, you as our our client may well have perjured herself or certainly misled or otherwise lied to Congress. That's a big deal that Covington would say that, and now they're basically publicly saying, look, our legal counsel was good here. I don't know who leaked it. I don't know what was behind it. But what we've known for a long time is that this organized network of leftists and Marxists, Act Blue is obviously a part of that whole operation. They're in, coordination to undermine our entire way of life, right? It's all connected to the Wren Collective, to Soros, to Arabella, and you got Act Blue. They're taking money from all quarters.
China.
We've had
China,
absolutely.
Iran. I mean, the list.
100%.
And this is the party, by the way, of Russian interference.
Yep.
All they did was claim that, Trump is a puppet of Putin, all this stuff. But the finger is always pointed back at them.
And we're left holding the bag, right? Like we don't get any accountability. We just have to sit on our hands and take it. It's just ridiculous. I'm fed up with the DOJ. And you know what? President Trump doesn't have a good history of picking attorney generals. Let's go down the list, shall we? Jeff Sessions, William Barr, Pam Bondi. I don't know who the new guy's going to be. Maybe it's Todd Blanche. Maybe it's Lee Zeldin. But do you feel good about either of them? I mean, Lee Zeldin seems like a nice enough guy, but I think that's part of the problem. He seems too nice. Seems too mild-mannered. He doesn't seem like the pit bull off the leash that we need. He doesn't give me the Matt Gaetz vibes. And I was excited about Matt Gaetz, the Attorney General. We need somebody in there that is going to go after all of these networks and not be afraid to lose their life over it. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's what we need. That should be the minimum requirement. Are you afraid of dying? Then this might not be the job for you. If you aren't afraid of dying, perfect. You're the guy or girl we're looking for because we need somebody fearless. And I don't think that we've had that for quite some time. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. It does seem like President Trump's enemies are a bit nervous over the shakeup at the DOJ. Maybe this is all political theater. Maybe it's the real deal. But Andy McCabe was on CNN last night, and he said, the next person that comes in is going to come in a ferocious way. I sure hope so, but I don't have a lot of faith.
All right, Andrew, so tell me how you're looking at this. Big picture, what does this mean for the future of DOJ?
Yeah, well, that's really the most important question here, right? Because we know that Pam Bondi presided over essentially the gutting of the Department of Justice and firings of dozens upon dozens of attorneys. Many others quit because of objections to the directions that their work was being pushed. She basically gave up the notion that the department should be committed to the rule of law and should be independent of the White House, completely sold out one of the most important tenets of the Department of Justice. And ironically, it seems that she has been fired for not doing that effectively enough, for not making the department enough of an effective tool for the president and his campaign of retribution and politically driven investigation. So I think it says a lot about what it takes to survive in that kind of Game of Thrones atmosphere around President Donald Trump, but also we should be wary that the next person who comes in is probably going to be committed to that same agenda in an even more ferocious way.
Oh, I mean, listen, I hope so. I don't want to say it's a total wash and 100% chance that we won't get somebody committed to that in a more ferocious way. My fear is they're going to be committed to the game plan of just sitting on their hands. We do need somebody ferocious. We do need that pit bull off the leash. Chip Roy was talking about it last night. Said the next attorney general needs to go hardball mode and be hyper aggressive for justice and accountability.
Congressman, appreciate you joining us. What is your reaction to this news?
Well, great to be on. You know, this is an agency that is near and dear to my heart as a former assistant United States attorney. It's critical that we have a great leader at the top of the Department of Justice. Obviously, we thank Pam for her service. She's, served the administration for this first 15 months. But the next person who's heading the Department of Justice has got to be aggressive. We have a limited period right now with President Trump in the White House, with House Republicans and Senate Republicans. We have got to be on offense for justice and accountability.
We have to. Like, there's no other option. Do you think it's going to happen? 615-737-9986. Or do you think it's going to be more of the same? I hope for justice, but I'm pessimistic. I feel like often I'm very optimistic, but with the DOJ currently, very pessimistic. 1021, it's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at United Structural Systems. Every homeowner knows this. When your foundation is compromised, nothing else feels right. And when the water is getting into your crawl space or into your basement, it could be slowly but surely compromising that foundation. You see, if you got water getting into your crawl space and into your basement and you're not cleaning it up, that could lead to wood rot, which will lead to foundation issues. And more than that, it could lead to mold, which could lead to health issues for you and your family. Don't let it go unchecked for too long. Call the experts at USS, the guys that have been doing this work since 1994. They have helped thousands of Tennessee's families repair and protect their foundations, waterproof their crawl spaces in their basements. Their focus is on doing the job right the first time so that way you can feel confident in your home again. But USS, they are the total pros. They're not going to send a sales guy worried about a quota. They're going to send an expert worried about your home. If it's a small fix, they're happy to tell you. If it needs a little bit more detail and planning, they can do that as well. If you notice cracks, moisture, or shifting after severe weather, don't wait. Call USS today. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855 or find them online, USSTN.com.
Coming up for you, and we'll have this morning's Money News. That's coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Happy Good Friday to you and yours. It is Easter weekend. That's the big one for Christians. Don't let anybody fool you. It's not Christmas. Easter's the big one. That's the cornerstone of our faith. We've been asking individuals to pop on the Facebook page and give us church recommendations for the Easter services. There's about 21 recommendations for different churches on our Facebook page right now in the comment section. You can leave yours there as well. We'll do more church shout-outs on the way. I'll be at World Outreach Church tomorrow night. Very excited. My son is getting baptized. That's my big news. That's the top story in the Hand household. We also got a 3-year-old turning 4 tomorrow, so that's pretty exciting. I can get very upset about the DOJ and about the current state of politics, but when you disconnect and you just focus on you and your family, there's still a lot of good in the world, man, and that's what we're doing this weekend. I'm actually looking very much forward to unplugging and just focusing on them for a little while. But in the meantime, we can get mad together about some other things. We can. There's plenty to be upset about. My fear currently with the DOJ is that there might be some arrests on the way. Maybe there's some Act Blue arrests. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said that fraud prosecutions are surging, which is great. That's cool. They also said they're going to be investigating Antifa, which is cool. But my fear is that the only arrests we're going to see are low-level, no-name goons, and we're not going to get any big names or masterminds, no government officials. That's kind of where I'm at. But you tell me if you disagree. 615-737-9986. On the fraud front, I do think that we're seeing some movement. I do kind of lean back and say we're only going to get low-level goons and no big names. But the White House Anti-Fraud Task Force, they had a big bust yesterday, confirmed $50 million in hospice fraud and healthcare fraud scheme that got busted in the early mornings yesterday by the FBI. So we are seeing some movement. Fox News had the story. This is with J.D. Vance at the helm as the fraud czar.
William Lajeunesse has more from Covina, California. That's just east of L.A. You've been on this story for a while. What happened?
Good morning, Dana. Yeah, this is the first takedown for the new White House Fraud Task Force. They arrested 2 owners of 2 hospices here in greater Los Angeles. They're accused of collectively stealing about $16 million from taxpayers. And this money was intended, right, for compassionate end-of-life care for the terminally ill. Here's some video we shot earlier today of the FBI making those arrests of a husband and wife. He a doctor, she a nurse, co-owners of the St. Francis Palliative Care Hospice in Glendale. And what they were doing was this: admitting people who were not qualified for hospice, but billed the government as if they were. About $30,000 per patient. And when the benefits ran out, they dropped them. Here's the kicker. Nationally, 80% of adults admitted, or people admitted to hospice, die, and usually in the first few weeks. Here, almost nobody died. After 8 months, 97% left alive.
They've been bilking the taxpayers for over $7 million, close to $8 million, and it's all total fraudulent hospice services. They were signing up people who are not terminally ill. They were forging the documents, the medical records, and they were collecting taxpayer dollars. And they've been charged, and this morning they were arrested.
Well, let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Could it be that they're just the best hospice care in the entire world with a 97% success rate of recovery?
Oh, top notch.
Like, if I would just say, before we jump to conclusions, that maybe, just maybe, if you're going to be going into hospice, you should think about doing it in California because the survival rates are so high.
It's so high. The money return is not that bad. It's perfect.
Like, why wouldn't you do it? Where else would you go?
You'll have GAMI for another 30 years.
With the modern advances in science and Silicon Valley right there, we could infuse you with robotics and you could live to 400, 500 years old.
No, you don't understand. She doesn't need a bed anymore. The shoebox is enough.
Yeah, she transforms. We made Grandma a transformer.
97%.
97% survival rate, actually. Unbelievable. J.D. Vance's anti-fraud task force not holding back. They're also investigating the most expensive welfare programs with minimal fraud enforcement. $2 trillion for Medicare and Medicaid, $101 billion for SNAP, $100 billion for the Small Business Administration loans, $64 billion for public housing, $43.5 billion for unemployment insurance, $16 billion for needy families. And U.S. Attorney Bill Esselstyn says, listen, California is one of the meccas of the fraud. It is probably going to go down as being worse than Minnesota, don't you know? Because they have been looking the other way. And we're going to bring you some of those comments from Bill Esselstyn on the way, U.S. Attorney. And we'll talk a little bit more about fraud. We got some Nick Shirley updates as well. All that and more. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A weather forecast is on the way. The 4 astronauts on NASA's Artemis II mission are racing toward the moon. After spending a day going around Earth, the crew giving the okay to fire their capsule's engine yesterday. ABC's Sam Champion reports that officially started the crew's nearly 250,000-mile journey.
Monday's Moon Day. It's the lunar flyby, and it begins then. 6 hours, the crew will take photos, videos, looking at the moon surface and for preps on future landing sites, possible by as early as 2028. Monday evening, Orion will make its closest approach to the moon between 4,000 and 6,000 miles above the lunar surface, and it's likely to pass that Apollo 13 distance record, flying farther from Earth than any crewed space mission in history. Now, on Friday, Orion will start to re-enter Earth's atmosphere at about 25,000 miles an hour.
Back here in Nashville, a homicide investigation underway after a body was pulled from the Cumberland River yesterday afternoon. Police were called to Cement Plant Road in Germantown around 4:30 yesterday. According to Metro Police, the body was pulled from the water near the Cumberland River Greenway. No further information currently available. Now let's check this morning's money news with Jim Ryan.
Investors on Thursday gave a lukewarm response to President Trump's address on the Gulf War, unwinding the two-day Hormuz Hope rally. The Dow gave up 61 points to close at 46,505. The S&P and NASDAQ each saw minor gains. Oil, on the other hand, surged. West Texas Intermediate crude settled higher by more than 11% at $111.54 per barrel, the highest since June of 2022. With higher gas prices right behind, Amazon is adding a 3.5% surcharge, not on buyers but on independent sellers. The merchants say, though, that if the fee goes higher or lasts longer, they will be forced to pass it on to consumers. So you avoid that uncomfortable "would you like to leave a tip" moment at Starbucks by using the mobile app instead of the drive-thru or walk-up counter? No more. The chain will now let customers tip in the app as well. It's part of Starbucks' effort to boost pay for baristas.
That is the latest news. Weather is on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Parker Safes and Vaults. If you're storing firearms, cash, gold, jewelry, passports, or even photo albums at home, here's something most people don't realize. Not all safes are created equal. This is why we're so lucky to have Parker Safes and Vaults in Middle Tennessee. It's our veteran-owned, family-run safe and vault door business here in town. And let's be honest, a lot of us want a safe, but we've been putting it off because we have to figure out which one to buy, where to put it, and how to get it installed. Well, that's exactly what Aaron and his sons take care of. They help you choose the best safe for your needs and your budget. They offer advice on the best place to put it. They deliver it, and they carefully install it themselves. Now, here's the best part. You can start figuring out what safe is right for you by going to Aaron Parker's YouTube page. You search Parker Safes on YouTube, and you'll find a detailed video review of every safe they have in stock. It's an ultimate resource, and Aaron just told me that they currently have great deals going on right now. Plenty of safes in stock and ready to go. These aren't the average big box store cabinets. These are quality safes from brands like American Security, Rhino, Liberty, Heyman, and more. Don't put it off any longer. Get a safe this weekend, and when you do, you mention my name, Chris Hand, you'll get a free pistol safe while supplies last. 931-842-6445. That's the number to call. You'll be glad you did. 931-842-6445, or find the whole inventory online at parkersafes.com. That's parkersafes.com. "38 minutes past the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Talking a lot about a lot of fraud on this Good Friday. If you need recommendations on where to go to church for Easter, we got quite the thread popping on Facebook. In the comments, people are leaving recommendations for churches. You can drop yours in there as well. We'll give some more church shout-outs on the way. I'll be at World Outreach Church tomorrow night. My son's getting baptized. Pretty big day. And my 3-year-old's also turning 4. Oh, and our Lord is alive. Christ is King. It's awesome. Big weekend, so we're very excited. Hope you and your family have a safe, happy, and awesome Easter. Again, drop in the Facebook page and let us know what church you're going to and invite others. Find somebody to invite in real life, too. Most people would go to church if they had somebody to invite them. So be that person, and we'll keep doing what we're doing over here. We were talking about fraud, and before the newscast, I started getting my rant pants on, and then Mason had to give me the windmill of doom because he's like, "You got to wrap it up, B," and I didn't realize that we were up against it, but I was I get a little flustered when we start talking about fraud. There's a lot of fraud. Did you know that? California happens to be the capital of fraud. And U.S. Attorney Bill Esselstyn said Gavin Newsom talks a big game But when it comes to actually rooting it out, he does a lot of sitting on his hands.
This is responsible for administering the Center for Medicare and Medi-Cal funds, and he's shutting it down. He's turning off the spigot of money going out. But this problem is so massive, and no one's done anything about it. The governors all talk. They are not serious in the state of California of going after fraud. They let out half of the prisoners out of the state of California. They have basically decriminalized most criminal offenses here. They are not serious about crime. So the federal government's stepping in, and when we charge you, you're looking at serious prison time. And the only way you're going to get deterrence, Sandra, is when the public sees people getting handcuffed, arrested, and convicted and sentenced to long prison sentences. Yeah, and that's what's coming next.
Well, and you know what? That was a couple days ago, Bill Esselstyn saying that. And he followed through. The FBI did have a raid early morning in California on $50 million in hospice and healthcare fraud scheme. They were busted, and that's good. I just think that we're only going to see low-level guys. I don't know how much top names, top guys we're going to see pinched for the fraud stuff. I do know that the anti-fraud task force being helmed by the fraud czar, J.D. Vance, all hail the fraud czar, has a new acting assistant attorney general for the first time ever, who was just sworn in earlier this week, Colin McDonald, and he had a warning for the fraudsters.
Thank you all for being here today. This is an important day for the United States of America and for the Department of Justice. And to begin, I want to say some words to some select groups of people that have made today possible. First, I want to start with a word of thanks to the President, to the Vice President, to Mr. Ferguson, to the Attorney General, to the Deputy Attorney General, Mr. Blanche, for having the vision to create this new division to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected and to ensure that there is confidence in our financial security within the United States.
This is the first time we have ever had an assistant attorney general for a national fraud enforcement effort. Again, it's Colin McDonald. He was sworn in earlier this week. These were part of his opening statements.
A hearty thank you goes out to those visionaries for creating the division that we are launching today. Next, to my teammates led by Deputy Attorney General Blanche and Attorney General Bondi, I thank you for the work that we have achieved together to ensure the safety and prosperity of America over the last year. Your hard work does not go unnoticed. Even while the people of America may not get to see it, they are sleeping well at night because you are not sleeping at all at night, tending to the public safety mission of the United States of America. To the American people, my promise to you is this, that I will work tirelessly day after day to ensure that if someone out there dares to steal your taxpayer dollars, that there might just be a federal prosecutor on the end of that bad decision, that no longer will we be uninterested in low levels of fraud. We will be interested in all of it. And if someone out there right now is deciding and determining whether they will file a false application to try to steal your taxpayer dollars, we're going to care about it, and we're going to find it, and we are going to prosecute you as hard as we can. What is the goal of this division? The goal of this division is to ensure deterrence so that people who are right now being dishonest and stealing the hard-earned taxpayer money, that they make right decisions, that they are deterred. That is what justice is for, to ensure right and honest and good conduct.
I'm here for it, but we're going to judge you by the fruit. We're going to listen to what you say, and we're going to judge you by your actions. There's a lot of fraud in a lot of states. It's every state. Let's be perfectly honest. This is not limited to only blue states, though it does seem that it gets a bit extreme the bluer the city and state. And in California, I think that there's no lack of areas to investigate. Fox News had this report. It was a hospice building, 3 floors, okay, dozens of health providers, but they were missing something. It was employees and patients.
Suspected hospice fraud in L.A.
I did not see a single person coming in or out of the building.
Neither did we in January.
Lots of offices, but no people.
3 floors, no employees or patients. Yet look at the dozens of providers licensed at this one address. 5 years ago, state auditors flagged this location for potential fraud.
5
years. They say they found non-working phones, locked doors, and stolen Medicare numbers.
In LA County, California, 89 hospice companies are registered to a single address.
Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill say California's weak oversight helped perpetuate fraud, a charge Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom denies.
We've been very aggressive as it relates to going after the fraud and abuse.
Oh, have you? Do tell, because it seems like we're getting more aggressive investigations from Nick Shirley than we are from Gavin Newsom's California. And Nick Shirley, he did provide an update. Do you remember there was a video where he did another fraud expose in California, and there was a video where he went to this hospice consulting firm, and they wouldn't even unlock the door for him.
We know that hospice is a very lucrative business, so I have joined a business partner right here. His name's Darren, and we're here outside the hospice consultants, and we would like to start our own hospice today. We're just 2 young men who want to become millionaires here inside the United States, and it seems like the only way to do it nowadays is by committing fraud. So we're gonna go in and see if we can start our own hospice. Are you guys the hospice consultants?
Yes.
Oh, can we talk to you guys?
About?
I want to open my hospice.
You want to open a hospice?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your name?
So this video had gone viral. It was about a 45-minute report from Nick Shirley, same style of video that he did in Minnesota with the Leering Center, but he did it in California. It was focused more on the hospice fraud and the healthcare fraud. Just a bit of an update on this video. You know, you talk about investigations. Gavin Newsom's going to be working so hard to root it out. After the Nick Shirley video came, this hospice consulting company has completely closed the doors, removed the sign. They have fled the building, according to Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley also says that part 2 is coming on that investigative journalism on Gavin Newsom's California fraud. So we'll be paying attention to that. California has reportedly lost $180 billion to fraud. With a B, my friends. With a B. 180 billion freaking dollars.
Totaled at least $180 billion. California Governor Newsom responded to that report saying it relies on, quote, guesses. Newsom says California has been a leader on combating fraud. Chris Rufo joins us now. Chris, what's your response to Newsom's response?
Yeah, well, you know, Gavin Newsom is definitely becoming associated with the word fraud, but it's not for fighting it, it's for enabling it. And look, even under the most conservative estimates, experts from Harvard, from the Department of Health and Human Services, from LexisNexis Fraud Division have told us that the fraud in California is unprecedented. It represents the largest financial crime in American history. And scammers have been stealing billions of dollars per year. Some estimates say as high as $50 or $60 billion a year from the state of California, from federal taxpayers who actually send money to the state. And so, look, this reputation is catching up with the governor. He's going to try to run away from it, but the facts are not on his side.
No, they're absolutely not. He can talk a big game, and he does a good job talking. But the actions say something else. And when it comes to Gavin Newsom, I hope that this fraud just is worn on him like a scarlet letter as he tries to run for president, because Lord knows that's all he wants to do. $180 billion with a B. Insane. There's going to be some incentive, though, for more people to speak up. Scott Bessent dropped this bomb earlier this week saying that with the fines that they collect, okay, on people that are fraudulently obtaining money through Medicare and Medicaid, they are now going to take up to 30% of those fines that they impose on those individuals and give the 30% to the whistleblowers, which actually could create an environment where we see a lot more whistleblowers coming forward.
This early on in his second term, Vice President Vance has been given the task of accelerating this, and it's almost like suitcase in an airport. If you see something, say something. The financial institutions, because of President Trump, Vice President Vance's leadership, and Treasury's actions, we have seen financial institutions now filing what we call suspicious activity reports, SARS. That's up 20%. Because they are the front line in identifying financial fraud. When nonprofits, whether it's daycare centers, hospice care, when they start wiring big round numbers out, that's a problem. There are large multinational criminal organizations that are doing healthcare fraud. So we are all hands on deck, because this is money that is not going to where it's supposed to go, but more importantly, it's being stolen from the American taxpayer. We need to be a high trust society. We need to understand that this is where the money is going. And this administration, this could be hundreds of billions of dollars in recouped money. And again, the programs are supposed to go to those in need.
So tips for Medicaid and Medicare ripoffs have given, you're talking about a tune of $70 billion per year. We saw the $9 billion going over to Somalia from Minneapolis. And then we see it's even a bigger story in California. You just got this job a year.
It's a massive story in California, and it's a story that's not going to go away. I want to see prosecutions of the high-level guys, though. The low-level prosecutions are nice. It's all fine and good, and they should be held accountable. But I want to see the elites be held accountable as well, because we all know that they knew, and they looked the other way. It's 10:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Glock store. I was there a couple weeks ago. We did the simunition force-on-force training. It was awesome. So much fun. The best place to train is always the Glock store. Book your training session at shoot270.com, or you can book it in person if you're going to be there on Saturday, May 30th. Why are you going to be there on Saturday, May 30th? Oh, that's because it is the 6th annual open house. They're already working on it. It's about, what, I guess 2 months away, but they're starting planning now, and it's going to be big. If you've been to one of the few open houses that they've had already, you understand what you're expecting. Great speakers, demonstrations, shooting competitions, all the best vendors, giving away free factory swag, and the biggest and best, open to the public, free gun gear raffle in all of Nashville, probably the entire country, if we're being completely honest. I mean, last year, they gave away over $25,000 in incredible raffle prizes, including 3 Glocks, plus a custom Glock store Glock that was worth over $2,000. I was very upset. They said, Chris, you're not allowed to enter because technically you kind of work with us here, and I was very disgruntled. I'm not going to go in thinking that I can win this year. I'm going to let you guys win, and I won't be upset until I see how nice the Glocks are. They're going to tell us what Glocks they're giving away very, very soon. We're going to tell you, but mark it on your calendar today. The 6th annual open house, Saturday, May 30th, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, and always open online, glockstore.com. They're going to tell us what Glocks they're giving away.
Coming up here, we've got the latest on what appears to be an American fighter jet shot down over Iran. Stories coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom, and everybody this afternoon is in for a special treat. Joan Jones is doing the afternoon news.
Never been done before.
Was it good sleeping in?
Oh, I loved it. Slept till 7.
Man, you're out of control.
I know.
Hey,
crazy.
What day are you going to church, Joan?
Well, we'll be there on Sunday. Do I
Okay.
get to see your son being baptized that day?
No, Brooks is going to get baptized tomorrow night.
Nice.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Maybe we'll scoot in just to see it.
Yeah, you're always welcome. We'll save a seat for you just in case. We asked the audience to jump in with church recommendations on Facebook and on the phone lines and the text lines because it's the big weekend, man. It's the cornerstone of our faith. Good Friday today, Easter on Sunday. There's a lot of recommendations. This audience always shows up.
One.
You have a recommendation? Tell me.
Yeah, so of course, World Outreach Church, which we both go to and love.
Yep.
But if you're down here in the Manchester area, Summitville Baptist, I think it's Summitville First Baptist Church, right off Summitville Road. My next door neighbor is the pastor. It's a fabulous church with just loving people that it's really warm and there's always food afterwards and it's just so terrific. So
I love
it's
that.
a good place. Yeah.
So we asked the audience, there's like 30 some odd recommendations on the Facebook page. You can drop yours in as well. It's one of those things where like everybody's got their own personal preference on denomination and music style, and I don't know. I don't really get into those arguments because I'm not educated enough. You do you. I think the most important thing is just being in church and having a personal relationship with Jesus. But depending on what you like, we have recommendations all over Middle Tennessee, from Catholic to Baptist to non-denominational to Episcopal and more. You can find that on the Facebook page. Just drop your recommendation in as well. On the way, we'll keep talking about fraud because it's a big topic of conversation, and there's a lot of movement on the fraud. We've seen some arrests in Minnesota, but it's just low-level losers, and I don't know. I'm happy about it, but I want to see some bigger names. We'll detail that on the way. Plus, we got a lot more to talk about. It is 10:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Don't forget, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Rumble. Hit the subscribe button. We're on all the apps on your iPhone, and we're always on the FM dial. So find us where you are, and find me on social media, at Chris Hand on Air. 11 o'clock, Joan Jones standing by with the headlines on Super Talk.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And there is a crash this morning that's got some trouble on the eastern split on 40 westbound. It's right before the split I-2440, and it's in the left shoulder. That left shoulder is blocked off. In the news, a U.S. official confirms that it does appear a U.S. fighter jet has been shot down by Iran. ABC News Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz says that a pilot and weapons systems officer were on board that fighter jet.
They did eject separately. That is how that works, within milliseconds of one another. So they are not necessarily right by each other, but certainly in the same vicinity. But this could really put a lot of pressure on the Pentagon and the American public if something happens here.
The U.S. has launched a search and rescue effort now underway. President Trump has now been briefed. Israel's prime minister says his country and the U.S. will continue to crush Iran. In remarks at a military facility in Tel Aviv today, he said that the two military powers have weakened Iran and Iran is weaker than ever. Students at Vanderbilt ordered to shelter in place overnight after a shooting near the campus. A man was shot at West End Avenue just before 11 o'clock last night. He was taken to the hospital, is expected to survive. The search, however, turned up no suspect, but police were able to say they believed that that man had fled the area. So the shelter-in-place order was lifted around 1 a.m. Still no word if the suspect has been located. Amazon shopping is about to get a little more expensive. The shopping giant slapping a new 3.5% fuel and logistics charge onto third-party sellers. It should start in early May. Amazon says it's temporary and needed due to a spike in fuel prices since the conflict in Iran began. It'll reconsider that charge when prices begin to come down. UPS and FedEx also increasing their fuel surcharges. It's 8% for the U.S. Postal Service. A sad sight on this Good Friday in Israel as observed by the locals.
It's very sad to see Jerusalem empty, especially on the Good Friday. Everybody hold his cross and going to the way of the cross with the Via Dolorosa.
Yeah, the Via Dolorosa in Jerusalem's Old City is empty today. The usual processions canceled over fears for the safety of participants as the conflict in Iran continues. Local masses, if they are being held at all, are being limited to 50 worshipers in compliance with the Israeli military's civilian guidelines. That is the latest news. We've got your weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Saturday, but then dry. We're back in the 60s. Information fueled, opinion driven. Government is not the solution to our problem. The Chris Hand Show. Government is the problem. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Easter Sunday, we celebrate his glorious resurrection and proclaim, as Christians have done for nearly 2,000 years, he is risen. Through the pain and sacrifice of Jesus on the cross, we saw God's boundless love and devotion to all humanity. And in that moment of his resurrection, history was forever changed with the promise of everlasting life. As we approach this joyous Easter Sunday, I want to wish Christians everywhere a happy and beautiful and blessed holiday. America is a nation of believers. We need God. We want God. And with his help, we will make our nation stronger, safer, greater, and more prosperous, and much more united than ever before. Thank you to everyone, and have a really happy Easter.
That was President Trump's message on Easter about a year ago. It's timely now as we head into Easter weekend. Hope you're having a great Good Friday. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You can listen to it anywhere, all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch it as well on Supertalk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. If you have a church recommendation, get it in on our Facebook page. No woke churches. I had somebody text in. They said if your pastor's wearing makeup and a rainbow flag, it's probably not a church. Fact check, true. That is 100%. All right, so Easter weekend, church recommendations on our Facebook. We got about 30 or so of them. Wayne in Nashville is on the line. He's got a church recommendation. What do you got, Wayne?
Well, my recommendation is, I've been listening to you guys talk, and I don't want to come across odd, but is find a church that is teaching what God taught us and what Jesus taught. Because I've been here, and I hear people say it all the time, find a church of your choice, one that you feel good about, what you like, that has the programs and things that mean something to you. But ultimately, we should be seeking a church, a family of Christians, not an event, but a church of the saints that are following what God's word is.
Amen.
And there's so many times, and you guys, and I'm not picking on you, but I am picking on you, is when you and Joan and stuff, like, hey, we eat every time after service, we eat, and we have this great pastor, and we have, all this stuff going on. And what's important is not finding what we like, but doing what God commands.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I think that there has to be opportunities to invite people that don't view things the way you do to church. And people will give World Outreach, grief for having an ice skating rink in the winter. But do you know how many people come to that church that never go to church because of the opportunity to ice skate for free? And then that gives the church the opportunity to talk about the gospel. I get where you're coming from. I think when I say find what's right for you, I mean Catholic church might not be right for everybody. A Baptist church might not be right for some people because they like to dance. So find your personal comfort zone and then grow that relationship with Jesus. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing things to bring people in, as long as it doesn't overshadow the message of Jesus Christ and the message of God.
I have a hard time believing that a crock pot of chili after service is going to overshadow the gift given to us by Jesus Christ.
We do potlucks. We do VBS. We have a fall series and a spring series, winter series, lessons and stuff. We do things to invite people in. But I think some churches get so caught up in programs and events that they overlook. It overshadows some of the message. And and I hear this is one of my things. You go to a church and you leave, and you go, man, the song, man, the band was really good this morning. That just really inspired. Well, there's nothing wrong with being inspired. But was our focus on worshiping God and giving God the praise, or was it on us being entertained? And again,
I get where you're coming from. I just think that some of these things, it does create an opportunity to bring the gospel to individuals that would have never heard it otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I think the key here is defining between when we're worshiping God and doing His commandments, and when we are bringing things in. You can do things outside of worship, that the outreaches and stuff, but I think a lot of times people on the worship, they focus on the feeling that they get from it, not versus the feeling of what we're sending up to God in that worship. And you know, and it goes so many different ways. But hey, I'm all about bringing them in, but we got to bring them in with truth and love,
Amen,
and spirit. And if you're not focused on truth at the very beginning and then delivering it with love, then you can't have the spirit that God has commanded us to have.
Can I ask you? Do you mind if I ask you? Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah, you can ask me anything you want.
Where do you go to church, Wayne?
I go to the Nashville Road Church of Christ.
Okay.
In Gallatin, Tennessee.
So,
and I've been a member of the Church of Christ, and saying a member of the Church of Christ, I don't mean affiliated with a specific building or congregation. I am a member of Christ Church. When I was baptized, I was added to the church. I didn't become a member. I was added to the church by God through baptism and total surrender and a covenant relationship with Him. And that is very important because you don't join the church. Read Acts 2:38. They cried out, "What shall we do?" And Peter said, "Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of for the forgiveness of your sins." And then he went on, and it said on that day about 3,000 were added to the church, and Christ is the church. And when we're added to the church, we become the church. We're the bride. And so that's the cusp of the whole thing. So I'm not going to go out and join a church. I will go and attend a meeting.
You there?
If that makes sense. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. I mean, people pick their churches for different reasons. Like one of the reasons I fell in love with World Outreach Church is because my pastor is completely unafraid to speak the truth from the pulpit. And then I think the children's program is awesome, and I want to raise my kids in the faith, and you do need that. But everybody's going to have their own reasons for liking it. Like some people might like a really loud worship band, and other people might like some old school hymns. And I think that when I say find what suits you, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, your pastor should be preaching truth at the end of the day, but I'm talking about the other stuff. You know, find what works for you, and then go and grow your personal relationship with Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I as with every Easter and every Sunday, it's important to make sure that you're worshiping God in a way that God desires and what God commands. And, you know, it's great. You got to have a family. The family, you got to be surrounded by those that are like-minded and in your faith.
Amen.
But we got to make sure that we're teaching truth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we agree on 100%. You got to be teaching truth. Wayne, I appreciate the call, my friend, and have a wonderful Easter with you and your family. Let's go to Bobby in Nashville. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, Chris, I was going to weigh in, with the last caller. I would invite him to WOC just to see how the church operates. It's not all about the music down there. It's all about the children. That's the reason we have the activities down there, to get the young ones started in church at an early age, because that way, if they get astray, like when they're 15 or 16, they'll always come back to church. But that's the reason all the activities and everything goes on at the church, is to help the children. And we have classes down there for the children. I mean, during church service, they go in there and they're taught about the gospel. They're taught about Jesus. And, brother, I just wanted to get that across, and happy Easter to everybody out there.
Yeah, likewise, buddy. Appreciate it. 615-737-9986. I don't think there's a wrong answer. I was raised Catholic. I don't do the Catholic church any longer. I have a deep respect for the Catholic. I have a deep respect for most of these churches. As long as you're preaching truth, man, that's what matters. There's going to be some stuff that people like and stuff that people don't like, but it's up to personal interpretation. A lot of people agree with Wayne that you shouldn't be going for entertainment, and I agree with that, but I agree that there's something about bringing new people in via the extracurricular activities that does add something, gives you an opportunity to preach the gospel, which I think is important. You tell me, 615-737-9986. As long as you're following Jesus, I think that you're doing the right thing. And if you're reading your Bible every day and you're following his teachings, I think you're going to be okay. I think you're going to be okay. But you do you, and I don't have any gripe against the Church of Christ. But that's, it's up to each their own. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. It is Good Friday. We do have Easter this weekend. If you're looking for a church recommendation, there are a bunch on the Facebook page in the comments here under the show. And we got, 33, very apropos, 33 comments. And we got tons of good recommendations from Antioch to Lebanon to Nashville to Smyrna to Murfreesboro to Churchill. It's all there, and you can find one that fits you and your style by all means. I'm not going to judge you because you're going to a mega church or a tiny church. I just think that it's good for you to be going to church. Mason's screening one caller, Erica, and then we'll get her on, and then we have our seminar caller wants to get in. I want to do the church stuff before we get to the seminar caller, and then I do want to get to the seminar caller because he wants to talk about Pam Bondi. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's go to Erica in Franklin. Erica, welcome to the show. How are you?
Excellent. I just want to say happy Good Friday. It's because of what he did. It's because of what Jesus did on this day. He died, and then on the third day, he rose from the grave. Not because I did anything.
Amen.
Not because I got baptized, not because I went to the right church, not because I did good works. It's because of what he did.
Yep.
And did the man on the cross get to enter the gates of heaven because of what he did, because of what he himself on the cross did, or what Jesus did? He didn't have time to go get baptized. So I say to all of the listeners, look to Jesus. He loves you. He did a marvelous thing today, and he brought hope, life, and eternity in him, and him alone.
Amen, Erica. Biblical-based Christianity, it is the only religion where you don't have to earn your way to heaven. You just accept and ask your way to salvation. It's a beautiful thing. Let's go to Troy in Nashville. Troy, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, I want to ask a question. Do you believe that we should bring a political platform to the church? You said preach truth and biblical base.
Yes, sir.
I can't find anywhere in the Bible where they brought the political platform to the church.
You don't really?
No. I mean, when we say, hey, you can't find where in the church, anywhere where the church stood up and said, vote for Caesar, vote for whoever.
Yeah, I think that your faith should influence your worldview, and in turn that should influence your politics. I think that you start with your faith, and everything else is downstream.
So, as a pastor, should I preach that I should vote for a certain person?
I mean, as a pastor, you do you, man. I don't have any specific guidance for you. I think that I would look to you if you're a pastor for more guidance for my spiritual journey. I have my political my political ideas pretty well thought out personally. Would I respect my pastor? I mean, listen, when it comes to politics, that you have two parties, right? And one of the parties is all about abortion, and one of the parties is all about transgender. They're all about perverting the word of God. I mean, if you're following the word of God, I don't even need to tell you who to vote for. I think that it's pretty cut and dry. But you tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think I need to dive too far past Genesis to realize that the Democrats are off when it comes to gender ideology. I mean, do you?
No. I'm just asking the question because the reason I ask that question is because, you got people that say, I won't go to that church because he's a Biden supporter or he's a Trump supporter or whatever. He's a Republican or a Democrat. And my question would be, I want to be saved, but I walk into a church and they're preaching politics as opposed to getting me right in my life. That's what I'm saying. The other things, I'm thinking the other things, that's not important right now. I'm lost.
Well, I mean, I would just turn to Jesus, man. And I think that if you're walking into a church and they're telling you to vote for Biden, I would turn 180 degrees and walk out of a church like that. I mean, I know Biden's not running, but I get the point that you're trying to make.
Yeah, and somebody could have the same approach about Trump or whoever. You know, I don't stand on the Republican or Democrat platform. I'm an independent.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I just think if you're trying to get right with Jesus, there's one party that promotes abortion, killing unborn children that the Lord knitted together in the womb before we even knew them, right? And then there's one party that's preaching not to do that, right? And I think that if you're right with Jesus, it's pretty easy to decide that there's male and female that were created by the Lord, and not 7 different genders. I mean, so you tell me. I feel like if everything's flowing downhill from your faith, then your politics are pretty easily buttoned up.
Right. I just want to hear your opinion. It's not about you being right or wrong or anything. I just, when I hear people say, man, you know what? I had a pastor friend of the church that I went to, and they knew that they said, well, he voted for Obama, and the people left the church. He had a mixed congregation, so people started leaving the church. And it wasn't about color or anything like that, but it was about who he had voted for. And I think, as a person, shouldn't we, like we say, he without sin, let him cast the first stone. Yeah.
But I'm also not going to follow somebody into the fire.
Well, no, that's true. That's true. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying.
If people left the church because the guy voted for Obama, and then you're pro-abortion, you're pro-gay marriage, like I mean, that's not biblical.
Right.
That's not biblical. So, like.
But we work for people. We work for companies that promote these things.
Yeah.
And they pay out checks and they do all this stuff, and we do what they ask us to do and all that stuff. So we submit to them, and then when it comes to my soul salvation, if somebody believes on another way, maybe I need to help the pastor.
Maybe. I mean, I would just say be if you're going to leave a church like that, go tell them exactly why. Don't just leave silently.
I like your show, man.
Yeah. Hey, I
listen to you all the time, man. I like your show, brother.
Hey,
I mean, the stuff you talk about, man. It really intrigues me, man. I like it. So I'm not calling you to be ugly or anything like that.
No. I didn't, Troy. I didn't take it that way at all, man. In fact, I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope that you and your family have a wonderful Easter. We'll get to our seminar caller after we stop down here. It's 11:24. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Just ahead here, we've got the latest information on what appears to be the shoot down of a U.S. fighter jet. There is some good news to report on that front this morning. It's coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in her personal newsroom, less dusty than the ones she's accustomed to.
No dust bunnies.
No dust bunnies, just hard, cold facts coming at you in less than a minute. Real quick, our seminar caller's on the line. He wants to talk about Pam Bondi. What's up, dude? How are you? Happy Easter, by the way.
Yeah, hey, how are you? Happy Easter to you as well. So I heard you were critical of Bondi and Blanche, and you were actually kind of level-headed about that. But I thought you were missing one thing, and I want to address that. Tell me if my thinking is logical or out of whack here. But when it comes to Epstein and Trump, correct me if I'm wrong, but Trump was very good friends with Epstein.
You are, they were defined very good friends.
It was Epstein's quoted as saying they were best friends. They were pictured together lots and lots of times.
Epstein's quoted as saying that he was pals with everybody. He was hustling influence. He told everybody that he was friends with everybody because it gained him access and prestige.
Spin it however you want, but
okay. I mean, I'm not spinning it. Defense attorney Bradley Edwards represented 70+ Epstein victims, and he called a lot of the powerful celebrity elites. The only person that returned his phone call was Donald Trump, and he gave him actionable information. When Epstein was being investigated, yes, you're absolutely right. Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, yes. And when Palm Beach police were investigating Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump called him and said, thank you. You also need to look into Ghislaine Maxwell because she is working for him. You need to look into that as well.
Can you let me make some points? Are you going to cut me off or just not let me speak?
I'm just saying define best friends.
So they were friends. Okay, I'll downgrade it to friends.
Okay.
Trump was friends with Epstein.
Were you in the room? Are you sure?
I'll downgrade it even more. Trump took photos with Epstein. How's that?
Okay. Do you understand how these parties, do you understand how parties work?
Okay, yeah.
Like there's a photographer running around. You get that,
right?
I
just said Trump was photographed with Epstein. Is that not a true statement?
That's a fair statement.
Fine, thank you. And I thought you might claim they're AI or something like that. Trump bought a teen pageant. Trump bragged about doing inspections of the changing room of the teen pageant. Trump talked about how if Ivanka wasn't his daughter, he would probably be dating her. Trump slept with a porn star while his wife was home with the baby, and Trump lied about that. Trump bragged about grabbing women you know where. Trump's been accused by many, many women of sexual harassment and rape and things of that nature. Trump lied about how much he knew Epstein.
Do you have a point with this, or are you just going to go through every accusation and I'm going to have to address each one? What's your point? What's the point?
I have a few more turds to drop in your lap.
I mean, none of these scare me.
Remember when Trump said, "Are we still talking about Epstein?"
Yep.
Remember when Trump lied about that he was never on the Lolita Express when he was?
He wasn't. But keep going.
Yeah. Remember when Trump threatened the GOP that if they decided to vote with that bill that they really weren't real Republicans? And Trump has done everything but stand on his head to prevent the files from coming out.
You literally ignored all of the things that I said before about how he helped put Epstein away. You're ignoring the fact that he signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act into law. He didn't have to. 3 million files released. No. If you want to be upset that there's no prosecutions like I am, that's fine. But the anger should be directed at the DOJ. I don't know if you know this, but Trump is not the Attorney General.
So regarding Trump, are you this naive about things in other facets of your life, or only when it comes to Trump?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm bringing you real information. You're bringing me accusations. So what are we talking about here? Do you want
accusations?
Yes.
Trump didn't sleep with a porn star.
It's an accusation. Does it matter? What matters? What matters? What matters?
Chris, I own this bridge in Brooklyn. I'm trying to sell it. I'm pricing it to sell. Would you be interested?
I'm very interested. Very interested. How much?
I'm not shocked to hear that at all.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked that you ignore all the things I say in the beginning because you're trying to make a point.
Payments of $99, I'll sell you that bridge.
Yeah, you're making a point that Donald Trump is an evil man. I don't believe that he was involved with the Epstein stuff at all.
Because you're in a cult.
No, I'm not in a cult. It's because there's FBI documents that he was talking to the Palm Beach Police Department saying you need to go after them. I mean, you can conveniently ignore them if you would like to, by all means. But it's there. It's there. Even CNN reported it. So miss me with the BS. It's 11:34. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 11:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. One of the pilots aboard an F-15 fighter jet that had been shot down over Iran has now been rescued. There had been questions about whether the reports of this shootdown were even true. Here's CNN's Jim Sciutto reporting on that this morning.
The U.S. military has not yet commented on this or confirmed it, though multiple folks from CNN have now reached out to Central Command asking that exact question. What we do know is that images are emerging online of wreckage from what appears to be a U.S. military aircraft. One particular piece of that wreckage appears to be part of a tail section vertical stabilizer of what would be consistent with F-15 fighter jet.
Yes, an F-15 fighter jet. He said Axios is reporting that Israel is actively helping the U.S. in the rescue of the second pilot. Iran put out a reward for the capture of the pilot. This plane was shot down near Karg Island. The first lawsuit filed in that fatal school bus crash in Carroll County. The parents of 13-year-old Zoe Davis are suing the Clarksville-Montgomery County school system and one of its bus drivers. In a statement, the parents say they filed the suit to uncover how the accident could have happened and to ensure that no other parents have to endure this unimaginable tragedy. The U.S. growth bounced back in March, job growth, that is, bounced back in March after a steep decline in February. The economy cranking out 178,000 positions last month.
With a strike ending at Kaiser Permanente, 35,000 workers were back on the job, contributing to an overall gain of 54,000 healthcare jobs in March. The construction, transportation, and warehousing sectors rounded out last month's job creation, while positions were lost in financial services and the federal government.
ABC's Jim Ryan there. That is the latest news. Stick around for your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for Conservatives for Lower Healthcare Costs. President Trump is doing what politicians have promised for decades, but never delivered. He's actually fighting to lower prescription drug costs for American families and seniors, and he's forced Big Pharma to make deals. He's reformed pharmacy benefit managers, and he's launched Trump RX. That's the platform to buy medications at dramatically lower prices. Real relief for Tennessee families, seniors, and anyone who's ever had to choose between a prescription and buying food. But right now in Nashville, some politicians are pushing Senate Bill 2040, the so-called Fair Prescription Act, the Fair RX Act. It sounds reasonable, but if it passes, they say it would force the closure of hundreds of pharmacies in Tennessee overnight, which would mean thousands of jobs are being eliminated. Over 500,000 patients, over 1.5 million patients would then be scrambling to find care. Many of these pharmacies serve rural communities where the nearest pharmacy is 30 minutes away. And on top of that, SB 2040 would also cut off mail-order delivery. That hurts veterans, that hurts seniors who can't drive, and that hurts the Trump RX program itself. This is big government at its worst, trying to solve a problem by creating a lot more. Conservatives for lower health care costs, they're sounding the alarm, and you can learn more at protecttnrx.com. 40 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. My wife texted me during the seminar call, and she said, "Be kind." And then she texted me 1 minute later, and she said, "Never mind." 615-737-9986. If you want to join the show, I got a bunch of people waiting to call in. So we'll do some phone calls. It's Good Friday, and then we'll jump into the lightning round if we got some time. Who do we start with? Let's start with Andrew in Ashland City. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, man?
How we doing?
So I'm all right. I had to call you, your last caller there. I didn't get to hear you finish your dialogue with him, but he said he was making some accusations, and you pointed out that they were accusations, and some of them were known to be true. I'm not sure about the porn star. None of that. I don't know. I wasn't there. But one of the things that you said to him was, it really, really touched the nerve. First of all, Pam Bondi did nothing but protect Trump in everything. I am a Trump supporter. I'm not a liberal. I'm an extreme, not extreme. I'm a conservative, but a constitutionalist first. I don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an American firster, and that is over everything else. Now,
yeah, I'm here for
another thing. Okay, well, we'll see, because
he said we'll see.
I don't mean to take a shot at you.
Okay, all right, let's go. I'm here for it.
You got to get out of Trump's rear end.
I mean, you seem like, listen, you seem like a nice enough guy. I don't think I'm in Trump's rear end, but I'm open to hearing you out.
Okay, well, so Pam Bondi specifically said that if we prosecute everybody that's in the Epstein files, then we would have to shut down our government. I have never heard of a better time for a well-formed militia. Now, second of all, if Trump is anywhere near Epstein, he's out, dude. I was a Trump supporter. He's done. I am absolutely against the pervert slash Trump.
I'm 100% with you. If he was involved, he should be held accountable like everybody else.
Hey,
but
we're Americans, but we're on the bottom totem pole. We'll never know.
But here's my thing, Andrew. Decades before anybody even knew publicly the name of Epstein, like we know now. Like nowadays, you can get into an Uber. I could ask a guy behind the counter at the 7-Eleven. Everybody knows Epstein. Years before that, Trump is working with and giving actionable information to a defense attorney by the name of Bradley Edwards. You can look it up. It's publicly available. You can search on X. You can find the interview with the guy. The guy was representing 70-plus Epstein victims. He called and served hundreds of elites and celebrities. The only person that returned his phone calls was Donald Trump. And defense attorney for those victims said that Trump gave them actionable information. On top of that, Donald Trump, in the Epstein files that he signed into law, releasing 3 million files, there is a file where he talks to Palm Beach Police Department that says you need to go after the Epstein guy. You also need to go after Ghislaine Maxwell. She is in on it as well. On top of that, Donald Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago because he was a creep. I mean, you can I'm here for new information to change my mind, and I'll let new information change my mind. But until anybody can debunk those three things, I'm going to continue on and assume that Donald Trump is not a part of this.
I just want one opportunity to debunk those three things. Okay?
Debunk them.
Here it is. All right, here it is. So, first of all, Epstein, he was just a pawn. The real figure is Ghislaine Maxwell.
You know what? I 100% agree with you on that. I think Epstein was the front guy, and Ghislaine, I think Ghislaine is the brains of the operation because of her dad and his connections to Mossad.
Why did Trump have number two, Pam Bondi's assistant, go to Florida, interview Ghislaine? She had nothing but a ransom, just all praise Trump. Then she gets a cakewalk prison sentence, gets catered to, and there's something really fishy about that one, dude. And I don't care what Trump's done.
No. Hey, listen. Hey,
and he did not have a choice to release the files. That was a congressional act to make it law that he released the files.
He signed it into law. He could have vetoed
it. Because you guys won't stop talking about Epstein. No, dude, Trump's got to go.
No, I mean, listen. He could have vetoed it. He didn't have to sign it into law. He just didn't.
I'm pretty sure that was non-vetoable.
And
I'm pretty sure that.
I don't think so. You might be right. I'll concede that. You might be right. I was under the impression that he could veto it. And I may be right, but whatever. Moving on. The other point that you made, I'm drawing a blank now. You said, shoot. Oh, the prison sentence for Ghislaine Maxwell and moving her to a cushy prison.
Wait a minute. No,
hate the move. I hate the move. Do you have any proof that was directly put together by President Trump?
Okay, no, absolutely not.
So what are we talking about?
I have discernment. God gave me discernment.
I mean, that's fair. But the guy is the leader of the free world. I mean, he can monitor a lot of things. But if he's putting people in place that he trusts that are screwing him over behind the scenes, which has happened before, and we've seen it time and time again. I mean, could that not just be another example of that?
One other thing that I have seen with my own eyes, and it's in the Epstein files. I have personally seen in 1990s, early, circa 1992, let's say, video of Trump in his wife beater in boxers sitting in a red chair being paraded by blindfolded little girls. I have seen that with my own eyes.
From the Epstein files?
Yes, on the Epstein files. You can look at it.
Tell you what. I have not seen that. If you can send me the link, the .gov link of that file, I will put it on. I will put it on the YouTube stream. But you need to text me. You need to text me the .gov link, okay?
I'll send it to you. I don't know who you are. I don't usually listen to you.
All I'm saying is with 3 million files, there has been a lot of fake files and AI generated images that have been going around.
Absolutely.
So as long as you can send me the .gov link, I'll look into it and I'll come up with an opinion on it. All right.
I got you. We need to be out of Iraq. It's America first. That had nothing to do with it. We went in there, bombed those nuclear sites, and then all of a sudden, we got to go back because Netanyahu says, we're going to have nukes in 2 weeks. Dude, Trump's out, man.
I mean, I'm not out on him. I think that you have your reasons for being upset, and I think that you're not alone in feeling that way.
I put our kids first. I put all of the kids first, man. Every single one of our government officials needs to be really hard deep dived into.
I mean, but if
they're going to cover it up, I'm totally anti-government now.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. But like with you're putting our kids first. If Trump is getting information in back rooms about Iran that their missiles go further than they say publicly, and then we see it in practice, I mean, do you really believe that they could have actually? They 100%.
I disagree with you.
No, there were Iranians in Venezuela. That's 4,000 kilometers. That is 4,000 kilometers to the United States. The missiles that were launched at Diego Garcia would reach America from Venezuela. I mean, but at the same time,
that could be fact, absolutely. I can see that.
We're also dealing in hypotheticals because neither of us are in these classified briefings, and neither of us get the information that the president gets.
No, but I do know that Epstein and Ghislaine were demons against our children, and anyone associated with that name, pictured with that name, redacted with that name. And that's another thing. So why are you redacting email addresses of people that say the youngest one was naughty?
Dude, and you know what? But do you know what? But Andrew, I completely agree with you on that. Like you're not.
Okay.
You're not
prosecuting those people. Why are we not taking them to a firing squad?
But like you keep yelling over me. You keep yelling over me. Donald Trump did not redact every single one of those 3 million files on his own. He trusted the people that he put into place. I have ranted against Pam Bondi not bringing any charges against these individuals, and I'm glad that she's gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but the president is not the attorney general. The president is not working behind the scenes to redact these documents himself. He signed it into law, and he's worked with the defense attorney for 70 victims. He called Palm Beach Police Department on his own. He kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. So that stuff is provable. That all of those,
and I can see that. But those both have absolutely right sides.
Those three things are concrete. Yeah. Concrete proof, 100% proven. All the other stuff that you've thrown at me is hypothetical at best.
Well, okay, because you haven't seen them doesn't mean that they're not proven. So
if they were proven, you don't think that they would be on CNN every single day yelling about it? You don't think MS Now would have been all over it?
Well, can you tell me why nobody's talking about Charlie Kirk anymore? Can you tell me why nobody's talking about Epstein anymore? Can you tell me why?
I literally spent the opening of my show talking about Epstein. And I said if the new AG doesn't come in, this is going to be a political bludgeon against the Trump administration in the midterms. To say we're not talking about it anymore, that's just not factual.
I understand. My purpose of calling, actually, and I appreciate you taking my call, man. It's been an honor speaking with you. I respect what you're doing. I'm so fed up with the corruption within our government. And when Pam Bondi said those words that day, that we need to prosecute or we would have to shut down our government. That was a huge red flag.
I mean, but you're not alone. You're not alone. Like we feel the exact same way. Like I want people in silver bracelets. I said it earlier on the show, and I appreciate your call. I said I want my scalps. I do. I want my scalps. Let's go to Kate in Hermitage. What's up, Kate?
Hey, it just makes me smile when I hear people say about the picture that Trump took with Epstein. I've got a whole box full of pictures of me with celebrities. In fact, I have a picture of me with you.
Be careful. That could be used against you in court someday, Kate.
On a different note, I haven't heard a lot about Shelley Kittleson, the reporter that was kidnapped.
Is that the reporter that was kidnapped in Iraq?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I have not spent enough time on it, and I should be spending more time on it, and I'll do better next week. But I don't have all the information from you. I do appreciate your call. Let's go to Natalie in the borough. She wanted to talk about politics from the pulpit. What's up, Natalie?
Hey, yeah, Chris. I wanted to address this misconception that I hear a lot that pastors are not supposed to be political in the pulpit. So I'm going to go through some quick biblical points. First of all, we have a book in the Bible called Kings. It's not called Peasants. It's called Kings, and it narrates the role of the kings in the society. And we see how Jeroboam negatively influenced society. So we go through with all of these things with the kings. Number two, when God said to Moses, go and say to Pharaoh, he says, go to say to the king of Egypt. That is so political.
Amen.
Number three, Elijah on Mount Carmel. He takes on the false prophets, which is false religion, defeats them. Then he goes he's going to go to Ahab, and he runs into Obadiah, and he says, you go tell Ahab, Elijah's here. That is highly political. Number four, Joseph, Esther, and Daniel were all strategically placed in palaces of pagan kings, very important. So God cares about politics. Number five, the prophets spoke not only to the common man, to the people, but to kings. They had words from God for the kings. Number six, we see Jesus. People say, well, Jesus wasn't political. Well, they totally miss it. The Pharisees weren't just spiritual leaders. They were very political, and when Jesus took them on, he was taking on a political force. Number seven, Paul had to go to Rome.
Yep.
And where does he end up? He ends up before King Agrippa. That's very strategic. And if we're not supposed to be political in the pulpit, then when we come into this age where when we get to the apocalypse and reading about that, and we read about this Antichrist, this false leader, what are we supposed to do? Not ever talk about it?
Amen, Natalie.
The fact of the matter is that we have to be political in the pulpit. And if we don't talk about sin, then we're not going to shape society. We are called to influence culture, be the leaders in that. And if we do not lead by serving in Congress and Senate and as president and in council meetings, then Satan's people will.
I agree with you 100%, Natalie. Thank you so much for the call. It is the end of my time here. I'm getting the Windmill of Doom from Mason, but I hope that you have a fantastic Good Friday. I hope that you find a church that you can go to this weekend to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Christ is King. So please find a good church. There's a bunch of suggestions on our Facebook page in the comments, and you can always join me. I'll be at World Outreach Church tomorrow night. My son is getting baptized. We got a lot of things to celebrate. Christ is King. Have a great Easter. 11:56 Super Talk 99.7 W.